technology and ended up actually having impact, or in your case it was some sort of an insight. So maybe if you could spend a little bit of time on the personal journey, what was that transformation moment that really caused you to take the leap? And how would you advise somebody who's sitting on the fence to look inwards or look for inspiration?
Personally, I'm basically a trained professional social worker. I've worked with an NGO for 5 years, and then I took a break. And then when I was looking at coming back, I always knew that this is where I would really feel at home and I'd be comfortable. So, and then I started working with NGOs on a pro bono basis, and more at the management level, whatever issues they come up with in terms of, they might be young, budding NGOs, and they need a kind of, just a small bit of helping hand here, and they will be fine on their own. So when we were working with such NGOs, there were, quite a few of them who were working on training people with disabilities in, fields where they can find employment. But finally, at the end of the day, where do they get employed? So that came every time we worked with this NGO, and that actually kind of, sowed the seed in terms of providing an employment opportunity. So that is where I thought I could make a difference. So that is where I jumped in, and so yeah.
How about you, Umesh? What was your journey?
So, as Paul was mentioning, I and my co-founder are examples of people who started very early. Right out of engineering, we attempted at entrepreneurship with another idea which didn't work out. And we, in the process of trying to open our mind, we met Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala at IIT Madras, who introduced us to the, the incubation ecosystem at IIT Madras, companies like Basil that Paul mentioned, LRAMP as Villgro was called at the time. For us, the romance of entrepreneurship was there. We had seen case studies and icons in entrepreneurship, even in technology. And intuitively, when we met Professor Jhunjhunwala and Paul eventually, we realized that entrepreneurship is the goal, and the market that we are trying to look at, something which is already saturated and there are big players, we could go and become a very small player and become one of them, or try to do something which is hard and not done before, and if we succeed, it will, basically we'll have the first mover advantage. That was the thought process. I would also say that ignorance was really bliss in our case. Not knowing how hard would it be, what could be the problem, we just said, this is an untapped opportunity, let's jump into it. And that's how we did. Practically that's how it happened. We said, this is the market, unserved, okay, what technology, why the hell haven't people done speech recognition in Indian languages? So we did it. And we've basically grown through that. So for us, being young, being ignorant helped, I would say.
Yeah, for me it was unwinding myself, working on two high-end technologies which were, as I told you, helping the rich become richer. So I thought, why don't we do the other way, making the simplest product at the lowest price. So I have this Lakshman Rekha, I said, 1,000 rupees, we are not going to cross this 1,000 rupees anytime for my water filter. Even for the arsenic filter, what recently we are building with IIT Madras, they were knowing the product, the chemical, that nano powder they have already found out, but they are not able to convert it as a product. So immediately I saw it in the newspaper. Next day I was standing in their lab and telling them I can make you the product for. So this is my skill, I know what my skill is. So I took their powder, made some turned components without any mold or anything like that. I think so then I immediately jumped on it. Within 2 days I was able to turn some small components and give it to them. We just mix this powder into this and make the test going on. So within 1 month they were so encouraged. Yeah, now I am visibly seeing what my material is doing. It is removing arsenic also. So this was an opportunity for me. So this still, again when I went to Bhubaneswar for the training from CSIR, the scientists ridiculed me. Because there was a lot of big players including Syntax and big companies who are in the water game taking the license. As I told you, 114 companies. So seeing me and my diminutive size and all those things and a small chap, he just ridiculed me openly. I should not say, but okay. He was telling, aap kya karoge? See, yes, within say 5 years, 6 years, they are going to create that spread. They are going to kill the market. What will be your dent, or what is the impact you are going to do? I just laughed at it because I know something is going very tricky in that particular formula. Simple thing, the rheology of the clay, what was used in Bhubaneswar, the scientist made, is something different from the clay what I am going to use in Tamil Nadu. And that is the simple reason all the 110 people failed and only 4 of us are surviving. We 4 would understand that the local clay is more important to be studied. So I had to become a geologist myself to understand the theology. And I am a fighter, as I told you. This man ridiculed. The same man should congratulate me on some occasion. So what happened? Luckily for me, within 1 year I met that person after giving it to the Tiruvallur Anganwadis. Why Tiruvallur Anganwadis? There is a distinct reason. The iron contamination in the district is very high. And all the Anganwadi children, I came to know through again another newspaper report that they are affected by kidney failures and stone and all this. So immediately I wrote to the Anganwadi center here, the commissioner, the lady was an IAS lady. So there was some funding given again by DST, Department of Science and Technology, to promote this particular thing. And I know for sure as a businessman, 17 districts are already states have already implemented this therapy technology in a big way. They are making big tanks. So the remaining 4 people, they are surviving because of that particular business. The government is giving them orders, they are able to supply packs. Unfortunately, in Tamil Nadu, all this politics, nepotism, kickbacks and all this thing has made rounds of talks with the advanced engineers. And ironically, they are themselves one of the licensees. So this is the country today, but I know, let us forget about wasting our time in the lobby of Tuat board, and one day I told them flat, I am not going to waste my time here, so I went back. So digging all this thing, going through the whole thing made me more resilient. And that one good article from Pudiya Talamurai changed the whole thing. Kannai Kalimine, there was a center spread with all the writing saying that this man is giving water filter at a low price. Again, as she very correctly said, how do I cut down the cost? I give the job to unemployed people who are in the fringe level, who are not even considered for giving unemployment. So one girl was totally burnt off. In fact, her hand, actually, the flesh is hanging in her hand, and the fingers are all just dangling. There is no support also. And the whole society used to ridicule her. And I got it through again another this social worker. She said there's a group of motley women in Ashok Nagar in that slum area. Why don't you try? And I can't afford a go down or anything because I need to stock up. Unfortunately, my project in the winter we can't do, rainy season we can't do, because clay you have to sun dry and put it in a kiln and bake it and all those things. So like an ant and grasshopper story. Only in summer we do a bulk volume and keep it, store it and then sell it in winter. I cannot say no to anybody. Because till today also, seeing that Pudiya Talamurai article, somebody keeps it in his armpit, comes all the way from some remote village, that we want to pick his stone up or something, comes to my home, takes that one water filter and goes back. At the time he leaves, I remember that he is short of money to go back to his village. They give him that 100 rupees because he is the right messenger talking about the water filter. And when Paul mentioned about this water filter, giving the water as the inducer's thing, I tried to remind you, CBI did a raid in Chennai. Out of the bottlers, 75% of the bottlers were giving spurious water. So, if the water filter is there in the end user's place, he is confident that something is being filtered before his hand and he is using clean drinking water. Second thing, my filter has never been replaced so far. All these 4 years I have not given a replacement unless it breaks due to some accident or fall or anything. The candle has been doing a great job, only the top layer has to be cleaned with clean water and it has to be thrown out. And going through these processes, I first started in Manamantri where the clay is very easily available. I did research on the geology. I told you 17 different clays across the state to find what is the right clay for my product to make it consistent. And the compression strength should be good, the capillary action should be good, the filtration rate should be good, it should be scalable or it should be understandable by the scientist who is going to test the candle in CSIR and tell me, yes, your candle is true.
Thanks, Chandra. That's great. Okay, so now that we've understood kind of the journey that